guys, it's Addie Herman here. If you watched on NBC, I was in the 2024 Women's Championship and actually walked away with the title. So this video is going to be all about the Women's Championship. Behind the scenes content, what went into each run. Let's jump into it.
She's definitely a contender to be our new champion tonight.
Oh my gosh, guys, even watching it now doesn't even feel real. I'm so blessed to be able to be a part of this community and be on this show. It was truly just an amazing experience. I think one of the hardest parts about the championship that people just don't realize is that it's literally filmed completely overnight. And this is after filming season 15. So we got to set after a long week already, and I'd say we got there around like maybe 6 p.m., started runs around 9 or 10, and ran all through the night, non-stop. I remember walking down the stairs after that final race, and I looked out and the sun was coming up. I have a picture. I'll show it over here. Yeah, that was my view after I won. It was insane, but so much fun. The people I was competing against on this special were all like my friends. We had the most fun time. Even afterwards, I went back to the hotel, got 3 hours of sleep, and then went to the Grand Canyon the next day. So I can't wait to go into all the details with you guys, get all the behind the scenes content going. Okay, so little backstory. I have been training for like 7 years now. A lot of work went into this. Specifically for the Women's Championship, I trained harder than ever. After getting runner-up in the season before, I had never been more motivated to come back and get redemption. In the back of my head, the entire year, I was just remembering that, and it really fueled my training, I would say. It pushed me harder than ever. Also, a huge shout out to my coach. He definitely isn't gonna watch this video, but if you do, Jordan, he is the best coach there is, like hands down. Without him, I would not have made it as far as I did. So if you do happen to see this, thank you, Jordan. But also my team. The people you surround yourself matter so much for these things. You have to have people around you supporting you, cheering you on, and also being there to keep you accountable. If you're slacking in training, you need those people to be like, hey, remember your goal, remember what you're working towards, and tell you to go run those sprints or tell you to go do those course runs. Whatever it is, surround yourself with people who care about your goals as much as you do. That's made the biggest difference for me. And not only in Ninja, but in life. Before I even begin with stage one, I want to share like a mindset shift that I had that changed everything for me. So going into last year's Women's Championship, the one where I got runner-up, I was so stressed. In my head, I was like, you've been training so hard, you have to do well, you have to hit a buzzer. And I put this pressure on myself to just win, and that was all it was about. This year, I was doing it because I loved it. I was excited to show my skills. I was excited to show the training that I've been putting into it. And I knew my identity was in something way bigger than a competition, even though I did care about it a ton. There's a difference between caring about something so much and making it your identity. I think a lot of athletes fall into the trap of making their sport their identity. So this year it was super, super important for me to focus on the fact that this is not who I am. It's an amazing thing that I get to do. I get to be a light for God. I get to compete alongside my best friends on the coolest obstacles in the world, but this isn't who I am. This isn't gonna make or break me. And so going into the women's special, I had that mentality this year, and it was so much more fulfilling. Even hitting the stage one buzzer, it was way more fulfilling than the year before because everything wasn't about just hitting that buzzer. It was about all the work that went into it, everything behind the scenes that went into that buzzer. It was about the people standing on my sideline cheering me on, my team, my coach, my family. It was about things that can't be taken away. And a sport, a buzzer, even the TV show, things like that can be taken away from you. Just a quick note before I get into these courses. Yes, I hit the buzzers that I wanted to, and yes, I do end up winning in the end, but it was about so much more than that for me. All right, let's talk stage one.
Last year's Women's Championship, Massachusetts teenager Addie.
So stage one, coming off of season 15, was hard mentally. Obviously, if you watch season 15, I failed the wall again after failing it the time before too. And it was hard because I did genuinely train so hard for it. So in my head, I was like, people are just gonna think I didn't care, didn't train it, and just went back on the show. In reality, I did care so much. I trained it so much, and things happen. So going into the Women's Championship, I wanted to have a super fast pace up to the wall. I wanted to make sure I was throwing all the moves I knew I could do, not holding back at all, not hesitating at all. But when I got to the wall, I did take a lot of rest. And looking back, that's probably the only thing I would have changed. I think it was more about wiping my shoes, so I made sure to wipe my shoes super good this time. I was super happy with my pace up until that point, but that's when I started to get a little held up. Obviously for the women's championship, time didn't matter, so I would have rather gotten the wall. I was actually super excited for this one. I love dynamic technical moves like this, so the cane hop was something I was more looking forward to than scared of. It was harder than it looks. The more swing you get, the harder it is to pop it up and off. So I had to find that balance between getting enough swing to get there, but not so much that it was more power than I had at the time to pop it off. Stage 1, I was super happy with stage 1. I didn't get the fastest time, but I felt super good going into stage 2.
Addie, who's the 2 seed? And Addie has that racing experience.
Okay, stage 2. This is the one I'm most excited to talk about. There is so much that went on behind the scenes in this. So to preface this is totally on like me as a competitor. They had told us before, like, we're going right into stage 2. Like, there's not going to be a lot of time between stage 1 and stage 2. I got off, I was pretty hungry by this point. I don't even know what time it is. I'm pretty sure it was like midnight. It might have been later. My plan was to eat some food, take a nap, go warm up, and get ready to run, because I thought that I'd have maybe like an hour or two. I did not have an hour or two. I ate some food and start walking over to stage 2 because it's in a different part of the lot. So I start walking over to the new warm-up area. I did make sure to stay loose. So I did some pull-ups on the other one. I was loose from stage 1. I wasn't tired anymore from it. And they give us the run order. Me and Barclay were gonna be last. So I was like, okay, perfect. Like, I'll go over, start warming up. They're probably gonna get started soon. We'd already gone through rules and everything, so it could be any moment. And I'm walking over. Barclay like had a chair on her back and everything. And they're like, all right, you're up. Get up on the start. And I was like, wait, what? And I remember just being panicked. I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, like, give me my shoes. Like, I have to go over behind the stage right now. It wasn't the producer's fault at all. It's just the craziness of the night. They have to get in so many runs during the night. Obviously things like this are gonna happen. All the people there on set were like, let me carry your shoes, take your time, like, you have a little bit. So it was more just the fact that I thought I'd have that time to warm up and didn't, that just freaked me out. I started overthinking a ton as I'm sitting on the stairs before stage 2. And stage 2 is usually the run that I'm most excited for. Like, I absolutely love stage 2 courses. And this course in particular, I was so beyond excited for. When I first saw it, I was like, this would be set up in our gym, obviously a lower scale, but the type of obstacles that would be set up at our gym all the time. So I was pumped for it beforehand. But after that quick turnaround, I did start freaking out mentally. And I remember Tej, who was also competing, she walks around to the gate and she was like, Addie, listen, trust your training. You know how to do this. And that calmed me down so much. So I prayed and was like, God, just give me peace. Like, just help me to be able to trust my training. Help me to have peace. Help me to have joy when I run this course. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go out there, give it everything I have, trust God. And it ended up working out. It felt like I was at the gym training when I ran. I was having the best time on it. Yes, I was super stressed and super nervous, but it really did feel so comfortable. Looking back, it was the most proud run I've ever had in my ninja career because I truly believe I gave it everything I had. On that last falling shelf, if you saw, man, I caught that, I felt fine. I started swinging and I was like, why am I so pumped? Oh my gosh. And I truly did not know if I was gonna make it. I heard everyone cheer and I was like, not again, because in semis, kind of the same thing happened where I grabbed the bar and everyone was like, yes, she did it. And I knew in my head, I was like, I don't know how I grabbed that bar, but my hands are not gonna be able to open again. And I missed right at the end of semis. So I was so scared that was gonna happen again. A stage 2 buzzer has been my goal. I've said for so long that would mean the world to me. And so when I threw off that falling shelf, in my head I was like, God, help me to hit the mat, help me to hit the mat, because I did not know if I was gonna hit the mat or the water. Somehow I hit the mat and look up. Everyone I love is standing in front of me. I hit the buzzer, everyone comes around, hugs me. It was the most amazing feeling, the most amazing experience. I can't even get over stage 2 because it was about so much more than just the course. It was the hours of work that went into it. It was the fact that I persisted through that mental block at the beginning of the run when I was freaking out. But God is so good.
Women's championship and $50,000 on the...
And finally, let's talk stage 4. When I found out I was against Jessie Graff first, it was a weird feeling. When I'm racing against people who I love and who are my friends, it's always hard. It's always like you're happy but you're sad at the same time. With Jessie, it's definitely special because when I was watching the show at like 8 years old, I always wanted to be like Jessie. I looked up to her so much. I still, if there's like a questionnaire and it's like, what's your favorite superhero? I still put Jessie Graff. I've done that at like 3 competitions in the past year. She's amazing. And obviously everyone who watches the show knows that. So I knew it was gonna be a tough race. For the cat grabs, you wanna move as fast as possible. But when I missed that board, my head just went blank. I was like, oh my gosh. And thankfully my body took over and I just kept going. But a lot of people have had questions about this. Like, you were off the board, why didn't you get DQ'd? We were actually allowed to be completely off the board and keep going. Stage 4, they said you couldn't fail, it's just a matter of time. So if you fumbled, you get right back up to the board and keep going. So that's why I didn't get DQ'd. So thankfully I saved it. If I was just hanging there, I don't know what would have happened. But yeah, it was not a DQ. I kept going and it was a lot to recover from that. Obviously it slowed down my time a lot and then mentally threw me off. But in a race like that where you have like 25 seconds, you cannot let anything get to your head. You have to be laser focused, one goal, getting to the top of that tower. And so that's what I did. You don't get a ton of time in between the 2 runs, maybe like 20 minutes. I'm not exactly sure, but it definitely went by really fast. And then that final race against Taylor Green, Taylor obviously has been dominating in the show, outside the show. She is a force. Like, this girl is good, and everyone knows that. I knew that. Everyone knew it was a good matchup. Being back in that same position as last year was such a deja vu moment. All that was going through my head, like literally all that was going through my head as I was climbing on that last race was, this is what you've trained for. This is what you've trained for. I gave everything I had on that last race. With the cat grabs, you can't see where the other person is. So the entire time you have to assume that they're ahead. You have to assume that you're trying to catch up, that it's neck and neck. That's the only way you're gonna get the fastest time. So that's what I did the whole time. And when I got to the top and hit the buzzer and saw that I was there first, I think my mind like literally went blank. All that I thought was like, thank you, God. I just started crying at the buzzer because I didn't even know what to do. To relive that moment and get my redemption in the same way as before, the same stage, except this time coming out on top, was more than a dream come true. It wasn't a dream come true because it took work. It took hours upon hours of work. It took dedication. It took mental strength, physical strength. To see that all pay off was, I genuinely don't have the words for it. It really left me speechless. I could never, ever have done this on my own. First and foremost, without God, I wouldn't even be able to compete. I would be a nervous wreck. It is only the peace God gives me that allows me to compete at the level that I do, and I truly believe that for myself. And then also, like I said, my coach, he really did put so much time into training all of his athletes, and it's really showed from our gym as a whole. Noah's rookie season made it to stage 4. It does show how much he cares, and that's something I'll always appreciate. And then my whole team. They are amazing. Like, I think my favorite part of the entire show was seeing them on my sideline, just seeing the genuine joy that they had for me. Because to have friends like that who get that excited for you, like my mom almost had a heart attack. Oh my gosh, did you see her? Would not have this accomplishment without them. And then also my competitors, the veterans of this sport who I've watched from such a young age, Jessie Graff, Barclay, Michelle Warnke. I would not even be on this show if it weren't for them. Like, they truly were my heroes from such a young age. They inspired me to get into this. They inspired me to work hard. They inspired so much of what I do now. And then also competitors my age, Taylor Green, Isabella Wakeham. These competitors are so strong, so good, constantly working hard. And without them, I really don't think that I'd be pushing myself as hard. So I really am grateful for my competitors who also I'm so blessed to call friends. Man, I don't even know what to say to wrap this all up. This experience was one that could never be replicated ever again. And it's about so much more than the buzzer. It's about so much more than the win. So it really means the world to me to have had this opportunity to be the women's champion now. And now my goal is just to inspire other people. It's crazy to even think about, but I'm so thankful to God. I'm so thankful to American Ninja Warrior for giving me this opportunity. I cannot wait to be back. For me, hopefully many more years, hopefully more women's championships. I'd always love the chance to go back. I hope that you guys enjoyed the women's championship as much as we all did who watched. And if nothing else, I hope this video just inspires you and motivates you to make those goals for yourself. Set those big goals, to dream big, and then do everything you can to reach them. But more important than anything is focus on who you want to be instead of what you want to do. Because if you focus on who you want to be and you strive to become that person, then what you do will naturally flow from that. If you want to be dedicated, if you want to have persistence over perfection, if you want to be joyful, have peace, then you'll work hard, you'll train hard, you'll form amazing relationships with other people, and that's what leads to becoming a champion. So I hope this motivates you, I hope this inspires you, and I can't wait to give you guys more content soon. I have some super fun stuff coming out in the future, so make sure to stay tuned, subscribe if you like this type of content. Thank you guys so much for all of your support.